So we come to a point where we are a little more maybe clear about basic world. So there are five basic issues I think which bothers people who get into an understanding of these ideas. The one thing is because when we are born, we are conditioned with a certain feeling that there is something, some God, something. We are very safe, and will be taken care of, and the meaning is all automatic. We are born, and then when we ask these questions, we are in a shock. The first thing which we experience is a loss of meaning. What is called the existentialist approach, existentialism. Suddenly, you don't know why are you here. Then you feel the first point is that why are you? If anyway we're gonna die, and then first point is if anyway we're gonna die, then what's the big point of living? I mean, it's not a big thing, right? It's not an absolute, sacred, divine, something. Firstly. Secondly, it's baffling also for most people. Those who, I think, for most people, because who am I? I mean, suddenly I'm this entity who has come from. We feel we came from somewhere, we're going somewhere, and you cannot ask these questions also because nobody asks these questions. So the third point is, firstly, you get these questions. The third point is nobody answers these questions. Really, they don't. See, look around. They answer from some viewpoint, this viewpoint or that viewpoint, this thinker, that they don't really answer the questions. Have you noticed? So there is death, and why are we living? Then this world is very baffling. But is it so baffling? Science gives many answers, no? We know what the world is. We know what we are, our brain, our mind, our thoughts, biology, physics, chemistry. You know how the things work, inventions, history, how we came so far. We know all that. We know the world, no? So can we stick to that? I think we can. So the ultimately we get free only when we decondition and recondition, and the only way to do that is to go get to know everything, which again brings us back as to why, most deeply, why we have to ask all the questions and reach all the answers, all basic questions, because you have to get the questions and you have to answers. You can't follow. Just because it is not religious doesn't mean you don't follow. Everybody follows physics. Nobody knows physics. Nobody says physics is a religion or physics is some miracle or some mystery. Physics is not a mystery, but physics is a mystery for students. They don't. They just follow. They just memorize, following, memorizing, copy pasting, sloganeering, abstract without concretization. Definitely, this is true. This is true of people, and that's why they're so. That is the so-called what people call ego or self-defensiveness and all that. People only know what they know, and I think people only know what they have experienced. And I can even say daringly today that people only know when they have felt some very deep emotion, some love or some feeling. I don't think anything else is there in life. So life has to, even if you know the truth has to be lived and realized within you as a feeling. Otherwise, they can't try. That is why there's a depression. There are many, many intellectuals. Even me, I've gone through that phase. I'm still going through that phase. 50. I'll be lying if I say that I'm not going through that phase. 50% I'm going through a depression because I don't feel. So the life is a battle to get some feeling, battle to love, battle for value, just to remain alive. And while all these questions are haunting, there's no meaning anyway. So just imagine there's no meaning anyway, and you're supposed to find meaning by fighting. Then, so my approach is very simple, very, very simple. It's so simple, I wish more people agree with me. My approach is we are born and we die, so why are we so serious? First, it should be that. You understand? First, we should be so clear about death that we just give up life itself. Life itself means the seriousness about life and clinging to life and all that. So, name, position, money, fighting for some value, even fighting for some values, improving the world, all this becomes silly. Life is silly. If I go and say life is silly, everybody knows it is silly. Maybe when we realize life is silly, then fully, when we realize that life is silly fully, and we decondition all these expectations that some meaning should be there, and this should be there, and that should be there, then life will be silly. Then we'll be happy, and we'll go on living, and we'll pass away. Happily pass away. That's the fact. So we come back again. See, there's a universe, believe it or not. There is no God. First cause is the universe. Existence, as Osho says, as Ayn Rand has said, Osho has said, U.G. Krishnamurti has said, so many people have said. In fact, I think we can agree on that, that everybody's agreed on that. What is, what is, what is. Everybody is saying that. If you perceive what is, you'll be happy. So you have to live like a dog and a cat by accepting the world as it is. Not that there's somewhere you will go and also. That leads to a bafflement. Again, I repeat, it leads to a bafflement. No matter what anybody says, it does lead to a bafflement. It does lead to a meaninglessness. It does lead to a depression. The people who deny that are false. And people who only say this is that is also false. No, there is knowledge also. So we have to have a first-hand understanding of science, of history. We have to study. We have to study in the sense we have to ask questions naturally. You understand? When you ask all the questions naturally, all the questions, not many questions are there. What are the questions? What is heat, light, sound? How do all the inventions work? Understand it firsthand. Open your eyes. How the history came, and then I think you'll be confident enough and face death fully. Understand biology. Really study biology. Study religion also firsthand to know that religion is not true, not fully. Religion talks about higher feelings, some other thing they're talking about. Religion is not talking about there's some God in the heaven, not at all. Nowadays, religions are not they're denying that. Sadhguru doesn't talk about God in the heaven. He's talking about God within you and all that. Who's that God within you? Then ask the question. When you read firsthand, you'll understand the answers. It's not that difficult. And once you understand the answers, you're on one stage only. Then you have to process it for your own life. That's another problem. You know. So life is struggling to understand the questions of life and living this stupid life for which there is no meaning, no ultimate purpose, just life itself, with a baffling wonder. Can you accept that? You can. That is the new perspective which will slowly come. Gods and all this fanaticism should go, and people should be born, and people are born, people die. These are the basic facts. People are born, people die. There are no miracles because things happen by some laws. Laws are true. We all know laws are true. Laws are true, basically true. Laws are basically true. They are the truth of life. That is some people call that God. Why do you bring in this God all the time? And all this, I personally think will be concretized when you face your finishing, when you face your death. Only then you will be very clear. It takes time. But it's a fact. And when you face death with enough intellectuality, with enough knowledge, and you can face death, then you'll be happy. There's no other way.